here's Brody Brazil.
You know, I normally wouldn't start a video like this and just give you the best part right away, but that's exactly what we're going to do here. Take a look at this basketball court, which I think might be the future for the NBA and college basketball. It can change literally at the touch of a button. Watch that right there. The United Center's black court to the traditional wood court. You can pretend like the Chicago Bulls are playing on that big computer screen. Wait a second, they are practicing on it. This is a complex down in Florida for ASB GlassFloor. It's kind of a demo space. And the Bulls stopped by when they were in the state of Florida to have a practice session. So more on this in just a second, but they've already used this before. The NBA has. This was their 2024 All-Star game in Indianapolis. So they had this big screen down as the court, right? Not a wood court, a screen court. I really don't know what else to call it. Is it like a computer monitor? Is it a bunch of televisions? It's seamless. It's beautiful. It's flexible. It does a bunch of different things. I shouldn't say flexible. It doesn't bend. It's versatile. Like you can basically do anything you want with it. You can have those fire trails behind a player before they go up for a layup or a dunk. I mean, the possibilities here are endless. So let me give you a little bit of detail on ASB GlassFloor. It's the GlassFloor. It's the LumaFlex system technically. It comes at a pretty hefty price tag. $2 million per floor is the estimated cost. You measure it out and you realize that's about $500 per square foot. Now, in the big scheme of things for NBA teams and what this could provide and what a court might cost anyway, maybe it's not as expensive as you think for this entire system. It's obviously not just one big giant screen. It's modular. It's made of modular panels. So if one breaks or there's a problem, you could swap one out, put it in. You can also take apart the floor and put it back in a lot easier. The NBA first saw this court demonstrated at the 2023 FIBA U19 women's tournament out in Spain. And they're like, whoa. Like ASB GlassFloor has been around for a while, but they kind of finally turned a corner on this. They finally made the product that caught the NBA's eye. So that's why in 2024, they used it at the All-Star game. Carlton Myers is the NBA's vice president of live production. Carlton gave this quote about the GlassFloor, quote, "It's all video and we can change it to anything we want." Imagine how dynamic that is and the featured elements we can do throughout the game to enhance what's going on as a part of the competition. And I agree. Wait till you see the demonstration of drawing on the tablet and having it show up on the floor. You could literally coach on the floor from a tablet and show players exactly where you want them to be, where you want them to set the screen, run around a screen. You can draw up the play literally on the floor where they're standing. It's pretty incredible. I'll show you that in just a second. In terms of the on-court features from the fan perspective and what people might enjoy aesthetically, design and color changes. I mean, you could have a different court for like the first quarter, second quarter, first half, second half, whatever. Live replays and other video content could be played in the floor. Now, I don't think this is happening during the game, but at a commercial break or a timeout or halftime. Like, imagine the possibilities. Real-time game stats on the floor. Like, mind-blowing. And I think there is overkill to this. I don't think you want to do all of these things, and especially right away, but over the long term, think about all the stuff you could add that might enhance the experience. Location-based player tracking. Yeah, you can draw like the route they ran to get open, to get the ball where they shot from or where they've made their shots from on the night. Interactive games during timeouts for fans, obviously not players. And then animations following key plays. Somebody hits a three. How about that side of the floor, I don't know, lights up differently or catches on fire? Not actually, but with the video. There's just so many things you can do to respond to the game. But the court itself still has to be of a certain level and quality, and it's got to pass, like, I don't want to say inspections, but there are some qualifications that this floor needs to have. The ball reflection, like the bounce of the ball, the dribble of the ball can't feel dead. If you bounce it on hardwood, it better bounce on this ASB GlassFloor system the exact same way. Now, I realize court to court across the NBA, there might be some differences and variables, but overall, it has to fit in the tolerances of a traditional wood floor. There's got to be shock absorption for bones and joints. And remember, it's not just the basketball bouncing on this floor. You got to consider making this floor, this glass floor, to the specs that won't get anybody hurt. Their knees, their ankles, their hips, all of the above. There are ceramic dots, by the way, also running on a glass type screen, a plastic screen. You would imagine the slip of sweat. Now, this exists on a wood floor too, but sweat on plastic and a rubber shoe, you can imagine how that might be. There are ceramic dots on this floor, which actually provide just as good, if not better grip on a wet floor than opposed to a traditional wood floor. There's also controlled friction. So how about this, right? You need to make it sticky enough that your shoes will grip on a wet floor, but you also can't have it. So if I dive for the basketball, then I'm going to get all burnt up and my elbows and knees are going to get all shredded. So there's controlled friction to avoid burn. So they're trying everything here. Again, they've been working very hard to try and perfect this. Wet conditions, safety, again, that's a big part of this, sweat and water, but also consistency and durability. You can't have it so this court only lasts half a season or 3 panels go bad on a game-to-game basis. This has to be like 100% reliable 99.999% of the time. There's a lot that goes into this besides just making it a video screen. Now, I will tell you, they tried too much, a little bit too much at this 2024 All-Star Weekend. Look at the three-point contest during it when they had the neon green screen, and the uplighting just doesn't look good. I imagine in person, but it certainly did not look good on television. It was like too bright. And maybe that's because the rest of the building is so dark and they really wanted to focus in on this court and make that the spectacle, but they've got to figure out a different way so that my man Dame here doesn't look like an alien. I mean, he's glowing green. It was too much. Look at everybody in the background, right? Like, they're not uplit because of that bright screen, but look at him. And look at the ball boy, the assistant behind him. It's just you don't want that to be the case. Look at GP, Gary Payton's out there. He's courtside, but he's also glowing. That the beard is now more green than it is salt and pepper like me. I got you, GP. I hear you, man. So the point is that some of these things are byproducts of the cool factor. Now, that right there is the cool factor, that you could draw a fire trail behind somebody who's going to dunk. Now, you wouldn't do this in a regular game, but to know that you could for situations like this is awesome. And so, again, a lot of blue uplighting here. It's just the uplighting, I felt like, kind of took it away, but you can make the court any color you want. One color for the three-point contest, one color for the dunk contest. You can also do this as we take it back to the complex in Florida. The Bulls weren't the only team who came through and had their practice there. The Raptors visited the training facility. And watch this tweet here from Omer Osman, I hope I'm pronouncing that right, covering the Raptors and watching the court change, but also eventually the ability to draw on the court. It was the Raptors floor. Now it's the Orlando Magic's floor. And you eventually take that pen and you can draw right on the screen the X's and O's. You want to go back to the Raptors home floor? It's as simple as that. And it just gives players like the simulation of, all right, we're actually here. This is a different environment. Here's the X's and O's. Watch this. X with a circle. Yeah, you're going to cut to the key. And look at that. It reflects right on the floor as you're drawing that. I mean, imagine as a coach and what a training tool that is right there. This is mind-blowing that you'd have the ability to do something like that. Not only change the court, not only have fun with it and, animations and videos and all that stuff, but from a coaching perspective, and there it is back to the traditional floor. So you've seen that video. I'll show you another perspective. Everybody's kind of checking this out. Front Office Sports had this tweet from CTS Bulls. Same thing when they visited. Drawing on the floor. Look at the coach right there. Wait, what? What's going on here? But I mean, the ability to change courts, have it be anything you want. I mean, you do see the seams in the floor right there. And I imagine over time in technology, they'll even be able to make those seams smaller and less noticeable. And certainly, I don't think anybody's going to be able to feel that with their shoes or the basketball. They've designed very much against that, not happening. So this is just incredible to me. And I think as we get to the takeaways here, I think we are looking at the future of the NBA and basketball courts for college and FIBA and everything else. Like, now that we've seen this, and I don't know that it's instantly going to happen next year or even in the next 3 years, but in 5 years, I think you're going to see this get approved for NBA regular season. And I think that like half the teams in the league in 1 year are instantly going to go in. And maybe on version like if they're on 2.0, maybe 3.0, whatever it is. I do think, though, we're witnessing something that is going to happen. And they're testing this out, and they're going to slowly roll it out. They're already using it in other leagues overseas. Like, this will be proven in other places, and then it will come to the NBA as a finished product. I also want to say that there's 2 ways to use this. For strategy, like drawing X's and O's and making the court any different court. you want across the league, but also the novelty use, right? So that teams can run promotions and sponsors and tons of stuff they can do with a custom video court that they could never do before. I do have some worries about maintenance and reliability and like what happens if one of the screens goes out during a game. What do you do? Like you can't play the game without the 3-point line being where it is or the half-court line being where it is. You cannot move forward. There's no patch around that. So this has to be maintained and reliable, and there's no way this can fail because you know what? A wood court, as far as I know, has never failed in the NBA. There may have been times where they needed to do a quick fix, but they could fix it. You would imagine with technology, there might be some days where it's like, we can't fix this. Or maybe they always have a couple spare screens ready to go and drop in. Maybe it is that plug and play, but maintenance and reliability are imperative for me. I think also in my takeaways here, how it looks in person is important, but how it looks on television is equal to that. Let's not just make this for the fans in attendance because that does matter and you can brand that, you can make it very fun. This has to look good and go well on a television screen, like a screen of a screen, if that makes sense. This has to look good in both places. And I think the last thing to consider here is if this really is where we're going, and I've also seen that brand new like custom printed basketball, the airless basketball, which bounces and dribbles apparently and sounds just like a regular basketball. I mean, imagine how wild it'll be in the NBA in 10 years if there's no more hardwood floors and there's no basketballs with air in them. It's a printed basketball on a video screen court. Hang on a second. Let me go full screen for that. It's a printed basketball on a video screen court. Think about that. Where are we right now? What planet are we on? But crazy as that sounds, if we're here in 2025, honestly, by 2035, it wouldn't shock me. That's the end of this video. Thumbs up down below. Really appreciate that. It will help me, this video, and this channel. And while you're down there, do me one more quick favor. Don't forget, why thumbs up? Don't forget to hit that subscribe button down below so I can definitely see you back here next time.